Have you ever said in a room full of people, started telling a story and watched their eyes light up? Or worse, glaze over? Why is it that some stories captivate instantly while others fall flat, even when they come from the same person? It's not about being born a great storyteller. It's about knowing how to shape a story so it lands. This book, How to Tell a Story, pulls back the curtain on the art of storytelling, and what you learn here might just change the way you speak, connect, and express yourself forever. The book comes from the Moth, a nonprofit dedicated to the craft of storytelling. For decades, the Moth has hosted live events where ordinary people tell extraordinary, true stories from their lives. Raw, unscripted, unforgettable. This book distills years of wisdom from these events, teaching you not just how to tell a story, but how to live one worth telling. In an era of noise and distraction, knowing how to speak with heart and meaning is more important than ever. At its core, How to Tell a Story teaches that storytelling is a deeply human instinct. It's how we connect, make sense of our past, and invite others into our inner world. The book's central message is simple. A good story is true, personal, and told with purpose. And you have more stories worth telling than you think. The first big idea is this. Every great story starts with a meaningful moment of change. It doesn't need to be dramatic or grand. It could be as small as missing a bus that led to meeting someone who changed your life. The key is that something shifts, internally or externally. The Moth calls this the hinge moment. A story without change is just a list of events, but add a hinge and suddenly it becomes a journey. One Moth storyteller shared a tale about losing his job and stumbling into an open mic night on a whim. That accidental night sparked a lifelong love for performance. The change wasn't just external, it redefined how he saw himself. When you think about your own stories, ask, what was the moment everything tilted, even just a little? Next, the book emphasizes the importance of vulnerability. That doesn't mean trauma dumping or oversharing. It means being honest about what mattered to you, what scared you, what you hoped for. The audience isn't there to judge your perfection. They're there to witness your truth. One storyteller described her terrifying first day teaching in a tough inner-city school. She could have played it cool, but instead she described her shaking hands, her racing heart, her moment of doubt. And because she showed us her fear, we rooted for her when she found her voice. Vulnerability creates empathy, and empathy is what keeps people leaning in. Then there's structure. The Moth breaks it down simply: a beginning that hooks, a middle that builds tension, and an ending that delivers resolution or insight. Think of it like a roller coaster. The climb up is the context and setup, the peak is the hinge moment of change, and the descent is the emotional payoff, whether it's funny, sad, or thoughtful. A good ending doesn't have to be tied in a bow, it just needs to feel earned. One storyteller shared a chaotic Thanksgiving dinner that ended with her estranged father unexpectedly showing up with pumpkin pie. Nothing was fixed, but the moment, simple, quiet, real, gave a sense of closure. That's what great storytelling does. It doesn't pretend everything's perfect. It reflects life and all its messy beauty. Another powerful lesson from the book is that humor isn't optional. It's essential. Even the heaviest stories benefit from a little light. Humor doesn't undercut emotion, it balances it. The best storytellers know when to sprinkle in a laugh to release tension or create contrast. One man told a story about caring for his mother during her final days. It was heartbreaking, but midway through, he shared a moment when she insisted on baking cookies for the hospice nurses, only to forget the sugar. The laughter that moment evoked didn't distract from the grief, it deepened it. Because in that moment, we remembered her as full of life, not just loss. The Moth also teaches that the storyteller matters just as much as the story. It's not about perfect delivery or flawless diction. It's about presence. When you tell a story, you're not just reporting facts, you're inviting people into a memory. One storyteller had a noticeable stutter, but his story was mesmerizing. Why? Because he wasn't trying to hide who he was. His pauses, his cadence, his emotion, it all made us feel like we were right there with him. You don't need to be slick, you need to be real. And perhaps one of the most surprising lessons, your story doesn't have to be big to be powerful. The Moth is filled with tales of small moments that linger. A boy learning how to shave from his grandfather, a woman confronting her childhood fear of swimming, a man accidentally getting stuck in a dog costume at a children's party. These aren't epic tales, but they're human, and that's what makes them unforgettable. What matters most isn't the scale of your story, it's the heart you bring to it. So how can you start telling better stories today? First, pay attention to your own life. Notice the moments that make you feel something: joy, fear, embarrassment. Those are seeds of stories. Second, practice telling them aloud. Don't write them out like essays. Speak them, shape them. Hear where the rhythm rises and falls. Third, listen to others. Go to a Moth event, watch live storytelling videos. Hear how others craft their truth. Let it inspire your own. Storytelling isn't just for stages or podcasts. It's for job interviews, first dates, family dinners. It's how we explain who we are and why we matter. And in a world where connection feels harder than ever, stories can be the bridge. To wrap it all together, How to Tell a Story isn't just a guidebook. It's a call to courage. It reminds us that every person has lived something worth sharing. You don't need a best-selling memoir or a life filled with drama. You just need honesty, reflection, and the willingness to be seen. Because when we tell stories, we remind each other that we're not alone, that we've all felt lost or elated or awkward or brave, and that's what makes life worth listening to. So next time someone says, "Tell me a story," don't shrug it off. Pause, breathe, and remember, the most powerful thing you can offer isn't a perfect tale. It's a piece of your truth told with heart. If this summary moved you, consider picking up the full book, How to Tell a Story by the Moth. It's a masterclass in authenticity, humor, and the quiet power of human connection. Share your favorite story in the comments, or check out our other book summaries to keep learning. And if this resonated with you, hit subscribe. We've got more stories to tell.